Retired Lieutenant Beth Smith with the Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Office is running for Anne Arundel County Sheriff.
Correct.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for accepting the interview. Finally, you were able to sit down about a month and a half ago. You and I were talking at the GOP Sheriff's Forum up in Glen Burnie, and you really stole the show there.
Thank you.
Definitely. So I'm excited to sit down and talk with you about, what you see wrong with the current administration, not just Sheriff Bateman, but also as Anne Arundel County as a whole and the Sheriff's Office, and what you plan to make different. Because you were Lieutenant at the Anne Arundel County
Yes.
Sheriff's Office, and I'm also interested to talk to you about the story that you talked about at the GOP candidate forum, which was about when you were inside a courtroom and you tackled somebody down, correct? That had a talk to me about that real quick before we really get into it.
Yeah, really quickly. First of all, I'm very passionate about the Sheriff's Office.
I know you are. I know.
I'm passionate about the Sheriff's Office, and I'm passionate about the duties of the Sheriff's Office.
Yeah.
I spend 70% of my time actually telling people what the Sheriff's Office does.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
most people don't understand what the Sheriff's Office does. So here's what happened. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. A deputy is up in a courtroom for a sentencing, and we're all milling around, getting ready to go to our courtrooms, and the alarm goes off. The clerks have an alarm in there, and they set the alarm off. And so I was the first deputy to come through the door. When I come through the door, the prisoner had the deputy on the floor, and they were struggling for his gun. And I was the first one there, and I grabbed a guy and got him off of the deputy and secured him until the rest of the deputies could get there, and we could secure the family in the courtroom and restore peace and order to that courtroom. But in the melee, I ruptured a disc in my back.
Yeah.
So, and then 7 years later, I retired.
Wow.
The county put me in a position where they gave me no option but to retire.
Definitely a lifetime full service. And talking about a lifetime full service, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your lifetime.
You don't think I'm from here?
Oh, I can tell. I can tell with the accent. I love the accent. And then tell us what ultimately inspired you to run.
I was born and raised in West Virginia.
Okay.
At 18 years old. Well, let's back up just 1 second. Born and raised in West Virginia. My father and my two brothers primarily raised me. At the ripe old age of 5, I declared to the world that I was going to be a police officer. And I have been single focused on that, just laser on that ever since. At 18, I was a young mom and joined the service. I went into the Army.
Oh, wow.
At 18, I raised my hand and swore that, to serve and protect this country. At 19, I raised my right hand again and swore to serve and protect as a military police officer, and spent 4 years in the Army, was ultimately stationed at Fort Meade. I was the guard commander at the jail over there.
And that's how you relocated to Anne Arundel
Yes.
County? Okay.
Yes, and president of the Non-Commissioned Officers Association, which had over 3,500 members, was the youngest guard commander at the jail. And then at the end of my tenure in the service, I was honorably discharged, very decorated and honorably discharged. I had a decision to make, do I go back to West Virginia or do I stay here? And I took a look around and I liked it here. So I decided to make Anne Arundel County my home.
Yeah.
And so I put down roots here and then started looking at police departments. And I was highly recruited at the time because of my military background, my military police background. And there was a shortage of women and minorities in police departments, so a lot of them wanted me. But I chose the Sheriff's Office. And I chose the Sheriff's Office for a particular reason. The Sheriff's Office in Anne Arundel County does a lot with and for families. And that was very important to me. And so that's why I chose the Sheriff's Office.
So speaking about the Sheriff's Office, as a citizen of the United States, and I told you this in our previous interview, and I'll tell it again in our next interview as well, when I look at the Sheriff's Office, just like a lot of people probably do. I look at it just like the Maryland State Police, the Annapolis Police Department, Anne Arundel County Police Department, just another police officer that I better not be speeding past,
Right.
on my phone, right? But
That's exactly
there's a lot
right.
more to it. It's a lot different than all the other police departments around here that serve
Yes.
us. So explain us what the Sheriff's Department does.
So you're very blessed here in Anne Arundel County, and you just labeled off why.
Right.
Because there's all those agencies.
And more.
And more,
Yeah.
right, on the more on the federal side. But so in Anne Arundel County, you have when you pick up the phone and call 911, the county police are going to arrive. They're your call for service, what we call your call for service. Maryland State Police, primarily in Anne Arundel County, do the patrol of the state highways.
The highway, yeah, okay.
Okay, so, and then you have the sheriff's office. And the sheriff's office, the best way to think of the sheriff's office is they are the long arm of the law for the court system. They protect our court, they protect circuit court, they transport prisoners. They do all the service of process, which means serve all the paperwork in landlord-tenant issues, criminal cases, subpoenas, civil cases, all the domestic violence paperwork, peace orders and protective orders. And then they also do, we have a child support, we did have a child support unit. They handle all the child support paperwork, and they serve warrants.
Can I ask you real quick, how long were you with the Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Department?
13 years.
13 years, okay, continue.
So that's, in a nutshell, if you think about the sheriff's office as the long arm of the court system, you'll be right on. Now, does that mean that you can speed past that deputy sheriff on your phone or anything? Absolutely not. Because we have the exact same training, the exact 6-month
Right.
academy that all the other agencies have.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to ask you, what do you see wrong? Because, I mean, as a reporter, I mean, I know I'm learning more about the Sheriff's Department every day, especially the one that I live in and the Arundel Patriot covers, which is Anne Arundel County. So what do you see wrong with the current administration? And I'm not just talking about Ron Bateman, but I'm talking about the Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Department right now, Sheriff's Office. What do you see wrong with it? And then how are you going to fix that if elected?
Well, first of all, I'm going to be present. You know, in order to manage and to supervise an agency, you have to be there.
Right.
And you have to be there not a lot. You know, you need to be there on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
And boots on the ground. That's who I am, boots on the ground.
Right.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to secure that courthouse. That courthouse needs help in that area, and I'm going to secure.
In what way?
Well, you know, it's kind of hard for me to go into that because it's kind of proprietary, and I don't want to. But the courthouse is not secure, and that's going to be my first order of business. Is I'm going to secure that courthouse.
Do you think Ron Bateman knows that right now, that it's not secure?
I think he disputes it because it's under his watch, and I think he disputes it. I don't think there's a single one of us that agree with that.
Understood.
And I definitely don't. You know, that's going to be my first priority,
Right.
is securing the
Securing
courthouse. The second thing is that there is $110,000 that has been misappropriated in the sheriff's office, and that comes from the civil process side, which is where the summonses and all the paperwork comes out of.
Okay.
That the deputies go out and serve, evictions and all that. So there's $110,000 that's been misappropriated, and my next order of business is going to be, I want to bring in a third party and do a complete audit of the sheriff's office from, for lack of a better way of putting it, nose to toes.
Huh.
I am going to do a complete audit of the sheriff's office. I want to open the books, and I want to do it with a clean slate, and here's where we're starting, and here's where we're going. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. And the third thing, and I don't mean this in the final thing, but you asked me for the third thing, is I'm going to put that child support unit back into play, because there's a federal grant that is in jeopardy, and you as a taxpayer should be furious over the fact that that child support grant is in jeopardy. So that is in the immediate, those are my 4 things. Independent audit, secure the courthouse, realign the civil process to figure out what's going on with this $110,000, and redo the child support unit.
Yeah, good. I do want to ask you one important question. It's common knowledge. I'm not coming up with the news. The Capital Gazette has reported on it. There's been other news platforms that have reported on it with a domestic violence situation with our current sheriff, Ron Bateman, after he was elected in 2014. So, what's your take on that? Should he have been removed from office? Should he have stepped down from office? Even though apparently this was the charges were acquitted, I don't understand really, and I want to get your opinion on what you think on that.
Well, first of all, I have been heavily involved in domestic violence and with domestic violence victims. So that is a subject that's very near and dear to my heart because it goes back to the family situations, which is what brought me, primarily to the sheriff's office, is because the sheriff's office does handle so much stuff with families. I think he should have resigned. I don't think that anyone should put their hands on anybody unlawfully.
Do you think he did that?
Yes.
Why do you think he did that?
It is my opinion that he did that.
Yeah.
Why do I think
Yeah, why do you think that?
I have, because I've read all of the police reports, I've listened to the 911 tape, so I believe in the evidence that was there. He was acquitted because his wife used her spousal privilege. I think the facts are what the facts are. I think the police did a thorough investigation, and he should have resigned.
Yeah. Well.
How can you be the sheriff when for 4 or 5 months you weren't allowed to carry a weapon?
Wow, that's. I mean, it definitely shows with the 13 years of just being in the Anne Arundel Sheriff's Department, and then the years of military police officer and all the other experience that you have that you come prepared to the job. And that shows a lot. So you're going up against Ron Bateman in the GOP primary, and then you're going up against 2 others, Jim Fredericks and Ostis, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So
you want to hear why I'm unique?
Why are you? She stole the question. She's smart. You're smart. I think that's the reason why you're unique. Is you're smart. No, go ahead, please.
Well, here's why I'm unique. I will be the first veteran to ever be the sheriff of Arundel.
Other than being the only woman that's running, by the way.
Well, we're getting to that too.
Go ahead.
But I'll be the first veteran to ever be the sheriff, and that means so much to me to be able to. I have spent my entire adult life in service to my country and to my community, because even after I retired from the sheriff's office, I continued to do the duties of the sheriff. I continued to do landlord-tenant stuff. I continued to do summons work. I continued to do the supervised visitations, and I'm a Rotarian.
Yeah.
As well, so I've continued to serve. So I'll be the very first veteran.
Okay.
I'll be the very first deputy sheriff to ever be the sheriff.
Okay.
And I'll be the first woman in Anne Arundel County, and only the second in the state of Maryland.
That's awesome.
Do you want to hear some more trivia?
Let's
I have
hear it.
more
Let's-
trivia.
let's do
I
more.
have one more piece of trivia.
Go ahead.
So across the United States, there's a little over 3,000 sheriff's offices,
Okay.
and less than 2% are women.
Is that just out of curiosity? I mean, this is an obvious question, but I want you to kind of explain it. Why is it so important to you, as a woman, why are you running? I mean, why is this so important to you, Beth?
Well, I have a passion for the sheriff's office. I started out as a regular deputy. I worked through every unit in the sheriff's office, all the way up to administration. There's not a job or a position in that office that I haven't done, and then went back and supervised. So I have such a passion for the sheriff's office, and I think that now I'm so passionate about bringing it back, bringing honor back.
Yeah.
That's what my logo is, but I mean it. It's from the heart. My passion comes from the heart for the job, and my passion comes from wanting to restore the honor and the integrity to that office. The men and women of that office are fabulous. They are fabulous. And they're holding that office together with a thread because they're not getting the support and the help that they need from above. And that's why I'm running. I think it's a shame when people have the ability and the knowledge to do the job and don't step up. I've always been a person to step up.
Yeah, absolutely. Retired Lieutenant
Right.
Beth Smith of the Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Office. She's running for Anne Arundel County Sheriff. Primaries are on June 26th. Make sure you guys get out there and vote.
Absolutely.
Beth, how can people get in contact with you, your campaign, get yard signs, learn more about you, volunteer?
I have a website, Beth Smith 4 Sheriff. I have a Facebook page, again, Beth Smith 4 Sheriff. And I could use all the help I can get.
Yeah, absolutely. Beth, thank you so much. You're welcome back on my show at any time that you want to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about.
Prayerfully, I'll be back after the primary.
Yeah, absolutely.
As the candidate for the general election in November.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thany you very much.
Again, why do I keep on saying former? You're not
don't
former.
know.
You are
I'm
retired. You're retired. I'm thinking of, okay.
Retired.
Anyway, retired Lieutenant Beth Smith of the Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Office. Again, she's running for Anne Arundel County Sheriff. Get out there and vote, please. Everybody needs your votes. Thank you so much. My name is Joseph Omo for the Arundel Patriot.